This episode is sponsored by Dice Envy. Dice Envy is an online dice shop that has a lot of unique, colorful dice to fit all of your tabletop RPG needs. Currently, they are running a monthly mystery dice box for, depending on the tier of subscription that you choose, you will have a limited edition dice set that fits a theme for that month. And if you order now, you will get a custom D6 along with a 33 millimeter D20. And it's a pretty good deal if you ask me. So if you're looking for new dice, go check that out at diceenvy.com/Octavia. Every purchase also gives me a commission, so if you want to support more of my content, please go ahead and treat yourself. Let's jump into the video. Hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of 2CP, where I give my 2 copper pieces on all things D&D. And today we're going to talk about attack rolls, saving throws, and ability checks. Ability checks, also known as skill checks, are rolls that you make that have to do with a certain skill that you have. In the left side of your D&D character sheet, there's a bunch of skills, and those skills are dependent based on your stats. And your DM will ask you for a certain type of roll. So for instance, if you want to investigate some old library for a specific book, make a investigation check, which is a D20 plus your intelligence modifier and then your proficiencies, depending on your proficient in it. Proficiencies are really dependent on what type of class you choose, and also if you have any feats or any additional abilities that give you proficiencies. So keep that in mind. Also, ability checks can be multi-purpose, so for things such as determining what type of monument this is, or determining what kind of creature that is that your DM is describing. It could be history, it could be arcana, maybe even nature. Depends. So I recommend negotiating with your DM to figure out what kind of skill can fit this. And who knows? Usually DMs are pretty good about that. Or maybe your DM will ask you for a specific check. Speaking of ability checks, the other side is saving throws, and saving throws are pretty much the same thing as ability checks. They have their own saving throw column, and they're dependent on the class, and they are surprises. So essentially, say you're crossing a bridge and the bridge just begins to crumble for some reason and you weren't expecting it at all. Well, you would make a dexterity saving throw, which is you roll a d20 plus your saving throw modifier, and if you're proficient in it, go ahead and add your proficiency bonus. Those are definitely some things to keep in track of. Also, maybe you need to resist a poison or whatnot, and you would make a constitution saving throw, which is a d20 plus your con modifier plus your proficiency bonus if you are proficient in it. So ability checks and saving throws are 2 types of rolls in the game. And finally, there is attack rolls. Attack rolls are combat rolls when you want to attack, swing your sword at an enemy, or poke their eyes out with a dagger. Attack rolls have melee, ranged, and magic. And attack rolls, say for a melee attack, you would use a d20 plus your strength or dex, depending on the type of weapon, and then your proficiencies and whatnot. Depending on the type of weapon, I say refer to the weapon table to determine what kind of abilities it has, because your weapons may be flexible. Maybe you have a short sword that has a finesse feature where you can use your dex modifier for attack rolls and damage instead of strength. Or maybe you're carrying a 7 to 10 foot long spear where you have the reach ability, and instead of a 5 foot melee range, you have a 10 foot melee range. And like I said, refer to the table and see for yourself what your weapon does. Secondly, there are ranged attacks. And ranged attacks are attacks that you make with crossbows, with longbows, short bows, maybe even guns or darts or ninja stars, whatever. Ranged attacks is mostly a d20 plus your dex modifier and then any of your proficiencies. Except for javelins, where you have to use your strength. When it comes to ranged attacks, so when you look at the weapons table, there's going to be two numbers separated by a slash. Let's say, for instance, we have a 60-20 or 60-120 range. 60 feet is your base range, so you can fire an arrow at that range up to 60 feet completely no problem. However, if you want to fire a shot at anywhere between 60 to 120 feet, you can attack, but you have disadvantage on the shot. So, you know, those are what the numbers mean. And also, if you're trying to shoot a creature that is within 5 feet of you, that also gives you disadvantage unless you have some sort of feat or close quarters combatant or whatever. So that is ranged attacks. Finally, we have spell attacks. Spell attacks use a spell attack modifier that is determined by your class. And I think warlocks, you would use your charisma. If you're a wizard, you would use intelligence, so on, so forth. So to do that, you would roll your d20 plus your spell attack modifier. I recommend reading your spells and letting the DM know. And that's it for this video. The 3 types of rolls. We went over attack rolls, we went over saving throws, and finally ability checks. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a like in the video description down below, because it helps me out a lot. And as always, if you enjoyed this, please consider subscribing, and I will see you in a few days with a brand new video. So bye guys.